Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 19. Are you currently on the fence about making a big life change or a big career move? Or are you struggling with your inner voice that might be telling you to hold your horses? Today's episode is probably going to get you moving, my friend. Why? Because I've got Natasha Nurse on the show, and she is a force of nature and a truly inspirational speaker. Natasha is a lawyer, diversity and inclusion expert, podcast host, fashion blogger, wife and soon to be mom, and all around power player in life. Let's go listen to what she has to share with us about living life as we were meant to. Hi, I'm Dr. Christine Lee, and I'm a psychologist and a procrastination coach. I've helped thousands of people move past procrastination and overwhelm so they could begin working to their potential. In this podcast, you're going to learn powerful strategies for getting your mind, body, and energy to work together so that you can focus on what's really important and accomplish the goals you want to achieve. When you start living within your full power, you're going to see how being productive can be easy and how you can create success on demand. Welcome to the Make Time for Success podcast. Hi, everyone. Today, I am excited to bring you my special guest, Natasha Nurse, who is just good at all the things. I think she's good at communication, expressing herself, sharing her energy, sharing her wisdom, and sharing her dreams with the world. And so I'm so happy to have you here, Natasha. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. You are so incredibly sweet and kind. Thank you.
So, Natasha, please give our audience members a sense of who you are and the different kinds of things you're doing these days.
Absolutely. So my story is really non-traditional, I think is the best way to describe it. I am a girl who was born and raised in Manhattan, New York. I am a New Yorker at heart, but happily been living in Arizona, very west of Phoenix, with my husband going on 2 years now. And if you've never been, we always plug Arizona. It's one of the most beautiful places to ever live and visit. We love it here, especially near Phoenix. And for us, I guess my story began with wanting to just be a person who didn't ever want to limit myself. One of the people who really influenced me the most was Maya Angelou. And why was because of her as a writer, her as a content creator, and her as a dreamer. And she had many titles. She was a poet. She was an actor. She was a director. She made films. I mean, she just did so many different things. And by living through representation, which is what human beings do, I saw that because she could do many, many different things, that I too could be many, many different people and do many, many different things. So I'm a coach. I like to work with my clients on accountability, on media, on career-oriented coaching. I'm a content creator, so you'll see videos and pictorial images that I design and put out in the world to inspire people personally and professionally. I am a podcaster, proud podcaster of From Woken Free with my husband. We started it over 3 years ago, and it has been one of the greatest joys personally and professionally, and for our marriage. You know, we like to say the couple that podcasts together stay together. And because yes, you can be in love with someone, but you should also create something out of that love, right? Outside of children. We are expecting our son, and so that will be another expression of our love. But we also wanted to put out some positive impact in the world through our marriage and through showing, hey, Black love exists. Hey, you can be on the right side of a decision and I can be on the left side, and we can peaceably and smile and disagree with each other and have great, meaningful, entertaining, educational conversations with each other. So that's what Woken Free is all about. And outside of that, I just try to be a strong feminist and a strong influencer to help people understand that you are who you are, and you are purposely, incredibly made to be who you are in this world. And don't ever let the world define you or limit you, because the world is what you make of it. And you just have to go out there and just do you and have as much fun and as much positive impact as you can.
Thank you so much. I think you've already just created the positive impact, and we just got it. We've just gotten started. I, of course, have to ask the question, have you always been this limitless? You said Maya Angelou was your inspiration. Did you come out of the womb this way?
So no, I would say as I've gotten older, I've been much more bolder, but I've always been outspoken. I've always, as a child, my parents looked at me. My mom and dad are from Kingston, Jamaica. And so Caribbean culture can be very stifling, right? Because it's very much, they're very focused on presentation. How are you presenting? How are your children doing in school? I come from a family where on my mom's side, my mom is one of 6. I have several cousins that are doctors and lawyers. And so there was a lot of expectation for me to professionally succeed. And so I too am a lawyer, trained lawyer from New York. I'm a New York licensed attorney. I, of course, went a different route and went into a space where I work in diversity inclusion. I have my own business. I have my own podcast, right? Like things like that. But ultimately, I knew that I always wanted to be true to myself because I felt growing up in New York, I think New York is a really interesting breeding ground of individualism. So even though my parents probably would wish that I wasn't as outspoken or as free as I am, I couldn't help but be that because, you know, I was exposed to so many different cultures, so many different sexual orientations. You know, I remember seeing all these variety of human beings and I just thought, wow, that's so remarkable. And I always wanted to be a champion for the gay community, for the trans community, for other people of color. And I think that for me, unfortunately, as a Black woman, I haven't always received that from the world. So I always took it upon myself that, hey, I wish people would accept me for being who I am. I wish people would accept my Blackness, my womanhood. And so I owe other people that acceptance and I owe other people that encouragement to like, hey, do you, be you, because that's what I want out of the world. And I do believe that you get what you put out. So I'm constantly trying to be that affirmation of freedom because if I can give it to others, then hopefully they can give it to me. And then we can just all just live in a freeing, embodying, powerful place and positive world. But, you know, it's a journey. It takes many of us to do this.
I would agree. I'm going to take your words. You said you get what you put out.
Yeah.
What is your own theory or philosophy about what keeps people shrunken and afraid to put themselves out more in the world?
Absolutely. So I think a lot of it is fear of how you're going to be received, fear of the consequence, right? Sometimes depending upon what career you have or where you live in this world or what body you come into this world as, you can be punished and crucified for being your authentic self, right? And so people are afraid of being punished. People are afraid of being judged. And they also are not always encouraged. I wasn't necessarily encouraged to be who I am, but I took it upon myself to say, hey, I'm going to be who I'm going to be. And whether I get supported or not, I have to be honest with myself. I have to look at myself in the mirror. And if I can't be proud of the person I'm looking at, then that's a problem with me, regardless of how other people, if they like it or not like it, right? Some people love me. Some people are like, oh gosh, Tosh, too much. And it is what it is. And I realize you're never going to please everyone. You never will. So why try? It's like, it's an impossible feat because you're never going to be exactly what other people need, but you need to be who you need to be to feel good at the end of your journey, right? Life, you're here for like a minute and then you're gone. Are you going to waste that minute caring and being so invested in what strangers think about you? Because guess what? It's going to ruin your life. It will ruin and make you feel like you didn't live your life purpose. And I think that that's really sad to be on a planet and have this opportunity to do amazing things and you just not do it because of fear or because you just don't know how it's going to be received. You're bigger than that. You're better than that. And so they have to release from it.
Yes. Yes. So thank you for that encouragement to us all.
Thank you.
To really thrive in your natural gifts and who you are and where you can go.
Absolutely.
I feel like asking you about dressing room 8 right now, because I think that you created a forum for people to express themselves with Dressing Room 8. Could you describe that in more detail?
Absolutely. Yeah. So Dressing Room 8 is my lifestyle and coaching blog where I geared actually the platform for women, because as a woman in the workplace, I really wanted to create a space where women felt like they could learn about how to be a better woman and how to be a stronger person in the workplace. Because as you know, we as women can face certain things in the workplace. As a bigger bodied woman, I also wanted to create content that touched on fashion and lifestyle things because, sometimes it's challenging to know what to wear and not be perceived a certain way and not be attacked for, a certain type of hairstyle or dress code that you prefer. And I also wanted people to understand how they could embrace their womanhood. We are powerful, a powerful gender, right? And life literally wouldn't be here without us. So we need to understand, accept, and hone in and focus and use this power within us. Because not to say that men are not powerful, of course they are, but women, we're the creators of life, which means we can do anything and everything. So let's walk into the boardrooms and know that and feel that, even if we're the only one there. Let's walk into the classrooms. Let's be there and be present with our families, with our loved ones, and let people understand that I'm not going to shrink. I am not going to ask for space. I'm going to make space for myself in every aspect of my life, no matter what. There you go.
Okay, great. I also recall you being a model in was it a calendar? I'm sorry, I forget what it was.
I worked with a brand that they did lingerie. And so they did a campaign where they essentially had all different women of different body types. So I was one of the plus size models in the calendar, but they had straight size women, they had older women, which I love when brands do that because it's really, again, speaking to the idea that beauty doesn't come in one size, right? And that we can all be beautiful at any size, at any age, especially our society is so focused on age. Listen, you are beautiful at 5, 55, 105. It doesn't matter. And so it was a fun campaign. It was definitely nerve-wracking, right? Because as a bigger body person, it sometimes can feel challenging to put on lingerie and feel comfortable in front of other people. But I love the experience because, again, human beings only grow when we're uncomfortable, right? We don't grow when we're comfortable. So by doing that, it's like, oh gosh, you're going to be in lingerie. Yes, I'm going to be in lingerie and I'm going to rock it. And I'm going to look damn good. And you're going to want every minute of it. And that's how we're going to roll with that one.
Okay, good. So you would tell our listeners who might be feeling apprehensive about something to just tell themselves, I'm going to rock it. Is that your key?
So I would say if you're ever feeling unsure about it, right? Or about a life decision or about, can I really do something? Well, you're never really going to know until you do it. You're never going to know what that feels like. You can pontificate as much as you like, but if there's something you really want to do in this world, the only person stopping you is you. So why not try and do it, right? Why not do it and see what happens? Maybe you hate it. I can't say everything that I've gone for I really love, right? But at least what I do love is that I went for it. You can at least always have that win that you know what? I didn't know how this was going to turn out, but I did it. I love that I did that about it. Whether it lands or whether the outcome is exactly what you want from it, you're going to get a lesson from it. And that lesson is something that you can apply in your life and you can move forward with. How unfortunate would it be to not do it and never know what that other side of fear looks like, right? Don't do that to yourself. Don't be the injustice to yourself. Do it. Just do it. Nike said it. Just do it. See how it goes. And I think most people would be surprised that A, they could do it, and B, how amazing and awesome of an experience it was.
Yes, I know this is a point where we absolutely agree. And sometimes I find it's the most simple concept, but also the most difficult concept to teach people that they are actually the biggest block to forward movement.
Yes.
And so I'm so happy to hear you say the exact same words and that, whatever you can envision, you could put forward. You could make a new space for it. It doesn't have to have already existed before.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you tell us about working in diversity and inclusion and what you've learned from that field? And how you have positioned yourself in that field?
Yeah. So my career, being able to work with a company where I can, create programs and work on fostering safe spaces in a workplace is the embodiment of who I am, right? So again, as a New York licensed attorney, I became an attorney because I wanted to always be in a position to be able to help people. So thus attorney, coach, right? Content creator, creating spaces for people is something that I love. And so what I love about that work is that it's the future, right? Corporate America is only going to get more and more diverse because America is going to continue to get more and more diverse. So I just would encourage people, whatever companies they're building or working at, to think about ways that people can feel more included, and that if you don't feel included, that you can do something about it, right? Whether it's in corporate America or in your own business, that diversity and inclusion is something that applies to every business because of the people that work in the business, right? A business is an organization, but it is only in existence because there's someone to work that business. So we have to make sure that people's voices feel heard, that people feel good about the work that they're doing, that they feel like when they show up that they're being celebrated. And if they're not, they too can do something about it. And there's many, many different avenues about it. Different companies approach D&I efforts and initiatives differently. But I would say I've enjoyed the work that I've done so far. And, again, I just think that is just another avenue of me being able to be a positive, influential person in this world and in the spaces that I operate within.
Okay. How do you, in those corporate environments, deal with resistance from people not wanting to change or not wanting to see that there's a pretty major issue, or that people are very unhappy and are afraid of speaking out or being stronger, a presence in the group? Could you talk about that?
Absolutely. So, you're always going to have naysayers. You're always going to have people who are going to challenge the forefront of campaigns and initiatives. And so what's interesting about people is that there's always an opportunity to try to meet them where they are. I think that whenever you try to just imbue your ideology onto someone else and not understand who your audience is, you're never going to make that impact that you want because you're not meeting them where they are. So you have to understand, if someone is against a push to have more women in the workplace or push to have more diverse people. Why? What exactly are they concerned about? Are they concerned about the culture change? Are they concerned that this is financially going to impact the business? Like, what are the concerns, the risks? And then you have to be able to present how those risks aren't really risk at all. Because if people understood that diversity usually is a positive thing for businesses, because you get innovative ideas, you get people who are going to come from different perspectives, who can create campaigns or initiatives that other people wouldn't have ever thought of because they didn't come from that walk of life. From a financial perspective, having more diverse people in your company allows you to also be able to present that to your audience, and maybe you can grow the amount of people that support your business. Because again, when I see a business that is not just talking about supporting Black businesses or Black people, but actually has Black people in the leadership, has Black people in the workings of the business, I'm more invested in wanting to help that business because it's not just words, right? But it's actual action here. And so then that means to me, hey, you actually really do care about my community. So of course I'm going to care about what you're giving to my community, right? So it's about understanding when people are challenging, why are they challenging it? Is it just fear? Is it just ignorance? Or is there a substantial reason against it? And then if you are taking on the forefront of saying, no, we have to do X, Y, Z, you have to come to the table prepared. You can't just be like, this is wrong. But like, no, have you seen these are 10 companies examples of what diversity and inclusion meant to them or what this change meant to them, and showing people, because, money is money. And at the end of the day, businesses just want to understand that the decisions that are being made, how they're going to make more profit. So as long as you can tie it into that end goal, you'll be able to win over the naysayers.
I love it. I think you're brilliant. And I think as I'm hearing you talk about that process, it feels like a parallel to your ideas about how an individual can expand and grow and be stronger, as a group and organization can as well, that we have to keep our bigger vision at the forefront, and we have to keep it real and realize that it's possible. And then the energy and the right moves will follow.
Absolutely. Yep.
Absolutely. Okay. So where are you headed next professionally? We know the baby's coming. We know you had mentioned to me earlier that you have an even bigger dream for your career.
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, our baby's due in June. So we're really excited. I mean, June in Arizona is going to be really, really hot. he's definitely going to be welcomed with a lot of sunlight and a lot of positiveness there. But outside of that, I think me and my husband for Woken Free, our podcast, we're looking to just expand the platform. Again, the platform is designed to help people understand that you can have educational, entertaining conversations, but we want to do more than that. We definitely want to get into film. We want to, get into doing coursework as well and helping people work on their goals because, me and Khalil, we've been very lucky in our careers to be able to do many different things. So we're able to, go back and teach people, hey, this is how you can approach being radically self-aware. This is how you can approach career decisions, things like that, because of things that we've learned. And then also outside of that, from a coach, like for Dressing Room Mate and stuff like that, just continuing to work with people and businesses who need my help and services, and any way that I can scale certain things that I do, I think that would be ideal. But just looking to continue to grow our platform, continue to help people globally as much as possible. And then also understanding some ways that we can give back, because not everything always has to be about business, right? Like, I think for me, as I get older, I'd like to find ways that I can partner with nonprofit organizations. And also, how can I get more and more in touch with like the roots of Natasha, right? So like, yes, my family is from Jamaica, but like, ultimately, I have African ancestors. I'd like to understand a little bit more culturally about where I come from. And then are there things that we can do that can bridge the gap between the African American and the African narrative? Because for me, growing up here, it's always been really sad to me, the divide between African American, Caribbean, and African, right? And it's like, we're Black people. So like we need to have a community, and that community, we just happen to live in different places, but we need to be able to have a lifeline to, create a tree and have a branch go all different ways and have it just be continuous love and support and understanding. Because again, the more you understand where you came from, the more that you have context for where you're going. And I think that's been a struggle for people who've grown up in America as African Americans. It's really hard. It's really hard to understand who you are in totality comparatively to other people who can look back and be like, oh yes, my family's from Scotland. My family's from this. It's like people, we don't have that. Like I'm grateful to be Caribbean, but not everyone has that. So, that to me, I think, finding ways to help empower our community more and understand the beauty and the power of diversity and what you can do with that in your career, in your personal life, things like that.
Yes. And I think you really do your mission. I see you as someone who treasures your time on this planet absolutely. And your time in general. And I want to share with our listeners who may not be following you on Instagram, how much of a life force you are on Instagram, that every day I look forward to Natasha's posts, and some of them are just plain bonkers, but they're so much fun. It's just what Natasha wants to tell us that next day. Yeah. So one day it's about exercise, and one day it's about the joy of it, and the next day it's about the pain of it. But I always feel like I'm learning a piece of your life and that I'm sharing in your life. So thank you for being that person on Instagram, because I know I do my best to describe myself as well, but I certainly don't go and describe how I'm exercising, because it doesn't feel right quite yet. Yeah. But I appreciate your openness on the platform that is really all about beauty and life and positive energy. So I think you're a shining example for people. So could you tell us how people can work with you, where to find you, how to follow you, and how to support your work too?
Absolutely. Yeah. So definitely for the podcast, go to wokenfree.com. That's WOKENFREE.com. And then on social, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Woken Free. That's the handle, right? So you'll be able to find us there. And then on Dressing Room Mate, go to dressingroommate.com, and then you'll find all the socials there. And, the best place I would say, if you're looking for podcasts or audio content that is going to move you and make you think and also make you laugh, definitely Woken Free is where you're at. And then for folks looking for coaching and lifestyle help, Dressing Room Mates where you guys will find that. And I would just encourage you with social media. What I found, again, when starting this journey, it's a journey, right? So like even if you say you're not comfortable right now, like that's okay, because some of the stuff I see you do, like you feel very comfortable doing XYZ, right? So like you have to find your space and you have to just live in that space and do you, because we're all made different and we all do things differently. But I think the best part about social media is just like figuring out who you want to be in that space and just sharing it and living in it, and not being afraid to sometimes push the boundaries, because you just, it helps you grow and evolve and have fun, just have fun.
I am so glad you said push the boundaries, because as you were talking, I was saying you got to be on there and then you have to push.
Mm-hmm.
You do have to go a little bit further than you might think you're comfortable with. And that may be just the theme of our whole conversation today, that it may feel like you're breaking some rule or breaking some comfort barrier, but it's still going to be good. It's still going to work. We just have to get away from the naysayer part of ourselves and the part that is really stuck in fear, because that is the not fun part.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the part that keeps us stuck.
Yeah. And it's so easy to say, oh, like, I don't have time to do this, or will people like this? And it's just like, what do you want to do? Me and my husband, me and Khalil talk about this all the time. Like I push him, and he says this all the time. Like he wouldn't have done half the things he's done if it wasn't for me, because I really am the person who's like, because I've seen unhappiness. I've seen what regret looks like. And I always know I didn't want that for myself. And I definitely didn't want that with any of my loved ones. So I try to say, hey, what would make you happy? Go ahead and do it. Let me help you find a way to do it. But you have to do what's going to make you happy. And even if you don't know if it's going to make you happy, do it. Try it. Just try. That's what I love about children. Children are so fearless, right? They want to jump off anything and run into anything. It's so interesting how as we get older, we just crawl inwards as opposed to being free birds like we were when we were 5. Because when you were 5, I bet people would have tried to hold you back from doing things. And then, you get older and then it's like, oh, no, I can't do that. Who says you can't do that? Why can't you do that? Go ahead and do it, right? And have at it and enjoy it, not for others, but for yourself. You have to feel good about it. And you have to also be okay with not always feeling good about it, but you wanted to do it. So you're honoring that wish, and you're going to see what that experience leads you to.
Well, thank you, Natasha. I cannot think of a better way to wrap up our conversation than by helping our listeners honor what they wish to do. So thank you for sharing your joy and your energy and your positivity with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. It's always an honor to be asked to interview and to share my story and my thoughts. And just last words of wisdom is just, life is short and you're magnificent and you are perfectly made how you are. So just do it. Just go out and live your dreams. And when you accomplish those dreams, dream bigger and make those come true, and never stop and never let anyone tell you can't be who you want to be in this world, because you have the power to be anyone you want to be.
And so there we have it. You have love from me and Natasha.
Yes.
Go forth and prosper, my friends. And I will see you next week. Thanks so much, Natasha.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Make Time for Success podcast. If you enjoyed what you've heard, you can subscribe to make sure you get notified of upcoming episodes. You can also visit our website, maketimeforsuccesspodcast.com, for past episodes, show notes, and all the resources we mention on the show. Feel free to connect with me over on Instagram too. You can find me there under the name Procrastination Coach. Send me a DM and let me know what your thoughts are about the episodes you've been listening to. And let me know any topics that you might like me to talk about on the show. I'd love to hear all about how you're making time for success. Talk to you soon.